On a quiet morning in August 1986, the sun rose over the hills of Cameroon, but nothing was moving. There were no birds singing in the trees, no cattle grazing in the fields, and no smoke rising from the cooking fires. In the valleys surrounding Lake Nyos, time seemed to have stopped completely, freezing an entire community in a single tragic moment. A farmer from a neighboring village approached the area and realized with horror that the silence was unnatural. As he walked closer, he saw hundreds of cows laying on the ground, not asleep, but dead, without a single mark on them. It was the first sign of a disaster so bizarre and so deadly that science had barely ever recorded anything like it before. To understand this tragedy, we must look at Lake Nyos itself, a stunning body of water formed inside a volcanic crater. For generations, the locals believed the lake was home to spirits, and they treated the water with a deep, fearful respect. The folklore told stories of the water turning bad, but in 1986, the lake looked as peaceful as a mirror. On the evening of August 21st, the villagers of Nyos finished their chores and prepared for bed, unaware that the earth beneath them was changing. Deep at the bottom of the lake, tons of carbon dioxide had been seeping from the volcanic magma for centuries, trapped by the water pressure. The lake acted like a shaken champagne bottle, holding back an immense amount of gas that was desperate to escape. Around 9 p.m., something triggered the release, perhaps a landslide, a small earthquake, or just a change in temperature. Suddenly, the water exploded upwards, sending a fountain of water over 300 feet into the air. But it wasn't the water that was the killer. It was the invisible cloud that followed it. A massive cloud of carbon dioxide, heavier than air, spilled over the crater rim and began to flow down the valley like a... This gas cloud moved at 30 miles per hour, silently extinguishing every fire and every living light in its path. In the village of Nyos, people were sleeping when the cloud descended, bringing with it a strange sensation of heat. Survivors later reported hearing a low rumble, followed by a sudden feeling of suffocation that caused them to lose consciousness instantly. Because carbon dioxide displaces oxygen, there was no gasping for air. The villagers simply faded away in their sleep. The cloud continued down the valley for 16 miles, killing insects, birds, livestock, and humans indiscriminately. Those who were standing outside fell where they stood, and those inside their homes never woke up to see the morning. By the time the sun rose, the gas had dissipated, leaving behind a scene that looked like the end of the world. The few who survived woke up groggy and confused, often finding their entire families had passed away in the night. Joseph Nikwane, one of the survivors, described waking up and being unable to speak as if his voice had been stolen. He stumbled out of his house to find the village completely silent, with no movement except the wind in the grass. The skin of the survivors and the victims showed strange burns, which baffled the first responders who arrived days later. Scientists realized that the gas cloud had been so concentrated, it caused a phenomenon synonymous with frostbite and chemical burns. When the world heard the news, theories ran wild. Some blamed a secret biological weapon test. Others suspected a plague. But the truth was far more terrifying, because it was entirely natural. A loaded gun created by the Earth itself. Limnologists discovered that the lake had turned a deep red color after the explosion, caused by iron stirred up from the bottom. The gas release was a Limnic Eruption, a rare event that has only been recorded twice in human history. The sheer volume of gas released was estimated at 1.6 million tons, enough to suffocate a major city. The tragedy of Lake Nyos forced scientists to invent a solution to prevent it from ever happening again. They installed degassing pipes that run to the bottom of the lake, allowing the carbon dioxide to escape safely and gradually. Today, a fountain of water and gas sprays permanently from the lake's surface, a controlled release of the monster below. The villages around the lake remain largely abandoned, reclaimed by nature and the memories of the lost. Survivors move to safer ground, but the psychological scars of that silent night run as deep as the crater itself. Lake Nyos remains beautiful, a jewel in the African hills, but it is a beauty that hides a terrible potential. It serves as a reminder that underneath the most peaceful landscapes, the earth holds powers we can barely comprehend. The 1,700 lives lost in 1986 are not forgotten. They are the silent witnesses to the night the lake took a breath.